I am so honored to introduce my friend and someone I've had the honor of working with for the past year, power forward Julius Randle.
Julius Randle is a three-time NBA All-Star,
two-time All-NBA team selection, and the 2021 NBA Most Improved Player of the Year.
He's arguably one of the best players in the league, and yet, despite all his accomplishments, there were struggles.
My wife would be like, no, you're just not present. Like, we're having a conversation, you're not really present. You're with the kids, you're not really present.
Today, we're going to share some of the tools that helped him turn his obstacles into fuel.
So this is Killing the Ants.
The one-page miracle.
You remember the rule of 12?
We had a pre-game dopamine ritual.
We did something called the gap in the game.
And the magic happened when we created your alter ego.
Yes.
We developed the Mamba Disciple.
Yes.
This is the one from before, and this is today.
Every day, you are making your brain better, or you are making it worse. Stay with us to learn how you can change your brain for the better every day. Today, I am so honored to introduce my friend and someone I've had the honor of working with for the past year, three-time NBA All-Star and current Minnesota Timberwolves superstar, power forward Julius Randle. Julius's NBA journey started with heartbreak. He broke his leg in his very first professional game with the Lakers. What many didn't know is that he already played at Kentucky with a broken foot. The injury gave his whole body a chance to heal and lit a fire that fueled his career ever since. From his early years with his mentor and idol, Kobe Bryant in Los Angeles, to a breakout with the New York Knicks, where he led them to their first playoff appearance in 8 years, Julius has redefined himself again and again. We met just before his shocking trade to Minnesota last year. And after a slow start and a mid-season injury, he stormed into the playoffs, delivering a career-best postseason, joining Kevin Garnett as the only Timberwolf to have a playoff triple-double and proving he's a big game player. We're going to talk about that. Off the court, he's a devoted husband and father, and over the past year, we've worked side by side on brain health, mental resilience, leadership. And today we're going to share some of the tools that helped him turn his obstacles into fuel. So welcome.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you. I'm excited.
I am so excited. And I usually sleep like a baby, and I was just so excited last night. So let's talk about how we met. So Kendra actually found me on social media, and you guys were sort of going through a hard time.
Yeah. She, personally in our relationship, marriages have ups and downs, but, she also saw me really struggling, from the mental side with depression and, just all different type of obstacles and stuff. And, like a good wife and a great wife that she is, regardless of, whether we're struggling or not, she wants to help me be the best version of myself. And, she's always putting me first and, trying to help me out. And she, I guess, reached out to you, and I had no clue. And she's like, kind of subtly hinting it to me like, hey, you should try this out. Like, this guy's amazing. Like, we'd be in bed talking. She's like, this guy's amazing. This, that, and the next. And I'm like, okay. And I'm not really paying much attention, but she finally worked me up to do it, and I got a scan, and now here we are.
Wow. And we've talked to each other virtually every week for the last year. And then shortly after we met, the trade happened.
Yes.
And there was a lot of chaos about it.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be a good thing for you.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Very unexpected. The trade happens, and, you really, I've switched teams in my career, but I've never been traded. you know? So like, I remember her being very excited for me. And for me, like initially when it happened, I was like really down. And I think I was ready for a fresh start or a new start, but it's also like you've been somewhere for a long time, 5 years exact, and you put everything you have into something and you kind of, I'm the type of person that wants to see everything through. And it's like, all right, man, I got that taken away from me. And you just kind of like felt bad. But at the same time, I was ready for a new start. I just didn't know how to adjust. But she was really happy. She was like, this is going to be the best thing for you. This is going to be amazing, not just for you, but for our family. You know, I had a little bit of, you know, comfort knowing that I was going to play for Finch. And I played for him before. So, you know, there was a lot to be excited and looking forward to. And for me, it was like, all right, I just want to get out of New York. Like, I just want to get to Minnesota. I don't care if we have a house. Let's just go to the hotel and find somewhere to live. And, you know, so I think once I got out of the city and, you know, was able to finally get to Minnesota, you know, my eyes opened up to like a new beginning. And yeah, it was the best thing that could have happened to me in my career, you know, at that point. And I'm so excited. You know, it was a lot of change during that time. But once we got adjusted, it worked out really well.
Yeah. So one of the first things I do when I see people is I scan their brain.
Yeah.
And let's put the scans up on the monitor and we'll just go through what we saw and then the plan. And then we scanned you again today. And this is like my Academy Award moment, you know, where you open the envelope and it's like the answer is you won or you didn't win. So this is what we're going for. Spec tells us three things: good activity, too little, or too much. And this shows us the outside surface should be full, even, and symmetrical. This shows us the most active parts, which should be here in the back. And if we look at your original scans, they're bumpy. And one of our first discussions was about marijuana. And I'm like, why is it legal in the NBA? It's like you're fast, your reaction time is unbelievable. And marijuana slows that down. But because of, I guess, the Players Association negotiated, it's like, come on, it's legal. Not everywhere, right? But it's like, we're not testing for it anymore. And you picked it up as a way to manage your anxiety. And because, especially in New York, there's a lot of pressure.
Right.
And there's a lot of negativity. And it's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it was hurt here. This is an area we're going to pay attention to. It's your left temporal lobe. And it's an area that often goes with temper problems, with irritability. And I remember it was game 73. You had gotten a fair amount of technicals in your career.
Yeah.
And one of the things we worked on is win or learn.
Yeah.
Right? Argue with reality, welcome to hell. He's not changing the call.
Right.
And I'm having dinner and the game's on.
Yeah.
You hadn't gotten a technical until game 73. All of a sudden you get when I start screaming at the television.
That was my goal the whole year. I was like, can I go the whole year without getting any technicals? And I was that close. I
think that was the only one.
That was the only one I got all year.
Isn't that amazing? But when there's problems here, like Draymond Green, I'm like, I have to scan that boy because he gets a lot of them. And here is your brain supervisor. It watches you. It helps you with impulse control. And it had been hurt at some point. It was low in activity. And then when you try to concentrate, your temporal lobes actually got worse. And then this side dropped. And now I'm thinking irritability, not out of choice, but it's because your brain's not healthy as it could be. ADD, the impulsivity, and the marijuana toxicity. And so the scans teach me so much. You can actually see the bumpiness that, people go, oh, marijuana, it's innocuous. And it's like, I published a study on 1,000 marijuana users. Every area of their brain was lower in blood flow and activity. And then your emotional brain here is very busy. And that could go with the sadness, with the stress, with the ants that we talked about, the automatic negative thoughts. And when you see it in this diamond pattern, it goes with also past emotional trauma. And one of the things we'll talk about is the EMDR work we did. You had an ACE score. ACE stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. On a scale of 0 to 10, how many bad things happened to you? You had a 5. That's a lot.
Right.
4 or more increases your risk of things like depression and physical health stuff. And so you've heard it said a picture is worth 1,000 words, but a map is worth 1,000 pictures. A map tells you where you are and gives you direction on how to get to where you want to go. And this became our map. And then I made you a poster. I do this for some of my special patients. I'm like, here's healthy. Here's you today. Here's you if you do what I say. And here's you if you don't. And one of the things with the blood testing we realized is you have something called the ApoE4 gene. So everybody's got an ApoE gene. It's either 2, 3, or 4. But what we know, you have 1 4, it increases your risk of dementia, like 2.5 times. If you have 2 4s, it increases your risk tenfold. And so obviously you either got it from your mom or your dad, and you should be on an Alzheimer's prevention program your whole life. Now, you only have 1, but that still increases your risk, especially if you get a concussion. So my impression after I first talked to you is you're awesome. And I often say I don't take broken people and put them back together. I take awesome people and make them more awesome, right? So many successes from the time you were young, but also had ADHD, toxicity on the scans, the past trauma, the decreased temporal lobe, the marijuana use, which I wanted to help you get rid of, and the genetic stuff. And so our plan, do labs, stop the marijuana, happy saffron, which I think really helped us. We were going to consider a stimulant. And actually, midway in the season, I was watching a game. I'm like, he's not focused. And we agreed. And that was very helpful for us. EMDR for the past trauma. You became a master ant killer. We'll talk about some of the ants. Taught you havening. Like if you're upset, it's like, okay, go into it. Give your mind a name. You gave it Teddy after your dog.
Right.
I was actually on Fox on Sunday. The New York Post picked up a video of me, give your mind a name. And so I was on TV talking about it. It's like, it just helps you gain distance from the noise in your head. Win or learn became huge for us. And then the alter ego effect. We'll talk about that. And so today we did another scan.
Right.
And this is the one from before, and this is today. And it is so much better. Like I showed it to Tana, and she goes, that looks like the normal one. And I'm like, this is better. This is better. We need to make this better still. So we still have work to do.
Absolutely.
But in a year, you have transformed your brain to one that looks healthy. And I know how hard you work out. Right? I mean, you're very disciplined and you love your brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm so excited. Your emotion brain, this is where it was before. It's calmer, but we still have some work to do. And this is where it is today. This is where it can be next year. If we just keep doing the right thing, and my goal is for you to love your brain, because then you love your life, if that makes sense. So talk about what you've noticed.
I think one of the bigger things I've noticed is my emotional stability. Not allowing myself to hang on to things too much for long periods of time. Or, if I'm in a, stressful environment or things that are testing like my patience or irritability, I'm able to kind of like recenter myself, calm down, take a deep breath, and just kind of evaluate things rather than react off of emotion or how I'm feeling. And I still have, like you said, work to do with that, but I feel like my ability to regulate my thoughts and kind of like sort them out and just take a moment and, just kind of like recenter myself and not let things get me, like things that would irritate me often. I don't feel that not nearly as much as I used to, or things that would allow me to be angry or upset or, have, temperament or whatever it is where I would just react and, kind of like black out, like those things don't happen, nearly as much. So I think I'm a lot more zen than I used to be. And I'm able to like problem solve a lot better because of that.
Yeah. I noticed after you came back from your injury, which was, I think, at the end of February, that you were just happier on the bench.
Yeah.
Like if you weren't playing, you were actively cheering.
Yeah. And that was
leading.
huge. Yeah, that was huge because like even the year before, like I got hurt and I was like, all right, well, there's just no use for me. Like in a way, and you kind of go into that like sadness and that hiding and you don't want to be around anybody. And like my wife seeing that, and she doesn't really know how to help me other than just be there for me. But like, I just kind of didn't want to be around anybody. I'm like, all right, I can't play basketball. And, I was just like sad and overwhelmed. And I'm like, all right, I don't want to do anything. I just kind of like want to hide and sit in this dark room. And, this year it was different. I'm like, I can't play, but let me try to be the best teammate I can possibly be. Let me sit on the bench. Let me, cheer as if I'm in the game and, just be a voice of leadership for my teammates. Be the biggest cheerleader and, stand up and cheer and, hype my teammates up and be a part of the team as best as I can. And I felt like it like opened my eyes to a lot of different things. I was able to kind of like just take a step back and really evaluate everything that was going on with our team, what was going on, what they might need from me when I get back. And, I just felt like even though I wasn't playing, I was still a part of the team. So when I did come back, it didn't feel like, all right, I'm having to reintegrate into what we're doing, or I'm having to, all right, we're adding this piece. It was like, I felt like I was already around and a part of everything going on, that I never really felt away or this distance between the team and I. And I think that's kind of like what helped kickstart such a successful, second part of the season, not just for myself, but for our team.
You guys had one of the best records in the NBA.
Yeah. We had, I think either best or second best record, and, allowed us to build momentum into the playoffs. So it was great. Yeah.
And you just consistently had great games.
Yeah.
And in the playoffs, we'll talk about this in a bit.
Yeah.
That had been sort of a monkey on your back.
Right.
Even though it was not a fair monkey,
right,
because you were hurt.
Right.
Or, it was your first playoffs,
right,
and then you were hurt, and then go, well, Randle doesn't play well in the playoffs.
Right.
You had an answer to that this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about killing the ants. some of the original ones were, I don't perform well under pressure. I'm not worthy. I actually put these up on the screen. I just want to go through a couple of them because it's always good. Like when you go to practice now, you shoot the same shot like over and over and over. You go, oh, I have to make 30 of them.
Yeah.
You got to do the same thing with your mind.
Yeah.
You have to train your mind over and over and over.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't shoot 1,000 free throws and go, never have to shoot one again. Right?
Yeah.
I'll just show up in the fourth quarter and make them.
Right.
And your free throw shooting this year was awesome.
Yeah.
It was so good. So this is Killing the Ants. And this was the big first one we worked on. I can't perform under pressure.
Yeah.
Right? Because they kept telling you that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so it's just the questions that, I learned from my friend Byron Katie. Well, is that true? You can't perform under pressure. Well, it's not true. You have so many examples where you can. Is it absolutely true? No. But how does that thought make you feel? Anxious, worried, on edge, always doubting yourself. How does the thought make you act? Overtrain, overthink, more likely to smoke. Can't trust yourself. What's the outcome? More likely not to perform. Depression, suffering. Well, how would you feel if you didn't have the thought? Fine. How would you act? Confident. And what's the outcome? Trust. And my favorite part is just what's the opposite of this thought? Because I can perform under pressure. And then you gave me lots of examples where, in fact, you perform under pressure.
Yeah.
With a broken foot.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But this, I think, was very helpful for you.
It was really helpful because it just, for one, allowed me to be honest with myself. Allowed me to be like, all right, this is exactly how I'm feeling. This is, whether it's true or not, this is how I'm feeling and this is how it's making me react. And like you said, with the overthinking, the overtraining, smoking to, try to drown out any type of noise or, anxiousness and all those different type of things. So it was just kind of like maybe just covering it up and not allowing myself to actually feel, what's going on and feel like, okay, like we talked many times this year, I'm like, all right, there might be times where I'm feeling anxious and I'm like, okay, this is great. I'm feeling something, I'm not running from it. It's like, all right, I'm feeling anxious now. I can choose whatever I want to do with this emotion rather than letting it control me and feeling like I have to do this and do this to overcome it. It's like, no, I can feel this emotion and I can decide what I want to do with it. So this was like amazing for me all throughout the year to be able to, again, identify what's going on and being able to, I'm having a healthier brain, having clearer thoughts, trusting my instincts, all those different type of things. And now I can sort through these thoughts and emotions and, decide what I want to do with that.
And it's not about positive thinking.
Yeah.
It's about accurate thinking.
Yeah.
I just want you to be honest with yourself. And when you're smoking pot, to stop them. When it wears off, the ants come back and they're worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then this one, which I thought was really interesting, was I'm not worthy. And it's like, well, is that true?
Yeah.
It's like, where did that come from?
Right.
Right? You're one of the most accomplished people on the planet.
Right.
And it's not true. It's absolutely not true. But it makes you doubt yourself, makes you shy, timid, standoffish, which is not your natural state.
Right.
When you're not being infested with the ants, second guess, miss opportunities. And it's like, what's the opposite? I am worthy. I belong. 3-time All-Star. I mean, how many people get to say that?
Right.
Right? They were paying you a lot of money. So they thought you were worthy.
Right, absolutely.
Or I don't like attention. I love that one. I don't like attention. And it's like, that's not true. If we just flip it, I do like attention. Can perform over and over in front of 20,000 people. You feel amazing when you perform well. I love inspiring others, showing others that it is possible, that through hard work you can be better. You love being other people's inspiration, motivation. But if you don't question it, you believe it, and then you act as if it's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or should I stop smoking marijuana or not? We did that one.
That was a big one.
And I'm like, yes. But you said yes. How does that thought make you feel? Well, maybe I'm overthinking it. How does the thought make you act? Paranoid, sneaky. What's the outcome? Bad judgment. How would I feel without the thought? Free, strong, confident, the best version of yourself. So what's the opposite? I should stop. Everything clicks when I stop. More engaged with the kids, more present with my wife, physically stronger, won't have the munchies and overeat. And then what I do with all my patients, it's like, so what's the reasons to use? And what are the reasons to stop? And, you know, food tastes better. Your senses were heightened. It was a habit. It relaxed you. But then you started chasing the feeling. It helps anxiety and it's a hobby. But the reasons to stop is it's damaging your brain. It makes you overthink, be the best version of yourself, better example. Kendra will be happier. Your mother will be happier. And I think even one time you said this stuff steals my soul. And so it's like, which brain do you want? Okay, we'll get to that in a second. But I always want you to think of ant killing like free throws. You just got to do it.
Yeah.
Like over and over again, especially when you're in the public eye. And Stephen A. Smith is always commenting.
Have something to say.
Right? Yeah. And, you know, they do it for clicks and ratings. And he would actually have an interesting brain.
We should get it scanned for sure.
That would be an interesting brain. But there's nowhere in school where they teach us not to believe every stupid thing we think.
No, not at all. Especially like in today's world where it doesn't even have to be true, but it becomes true, you know, and everybody has an opinion and everybody feels like their opinion is, you know, the law or what's true. Or a lot of people don't have their own opinion too. And they just kind of believe what, you know, the most popular person is saying or whatever. They're not really, you know, trusting their own instincts or doing, you know, what's necessary to, you know, formulate their own opinion. You know, they're, you know, just kind of following whatever the crowd is doing. So it's definitely tough in today's world. But I think it's so important to have a clear mind and being able to be strong mentally and independent mentally without anything influencing you as far as, you know, substance or voice or whatever, like, you know, being able to sort your own thoughts out and, you know, have your own personal opinion about things, right or wrong. But I think just for me, I can judge whether it's right or wrong better if I have a clear thinking, you know, brain and mind, which is what I worked on, or we worked on a lot this year.
Most people think hydration is just about drinking water, but your brain needs the right balance of electrolytes to function at its best. That's why I start my morning with Smart Electrolytes from BrainMD. It hydrates fast, supports brain function, and keeps me energized, all without sugar. I've noticed a huge difference in how I feel throughout the day. If you want better hydration, give it a try at brainmd.com and use the code podcast20 for 20% off. And you're the CEO of, I don't know, $200 million company or something crazy. And you never want to damage your brain, which is the real CEO, right? It's the one that's forethought, judgment, impulse control, organization, planning. And once you get your brain healthy, you then have to program it to help you. Another exercise we did, let's see, I want to go to it. I have all sorts of things here for us to talk about. But put this up. Early on, we did an exercise I thought that was really helpful for you. And it's called the one-page miracle. And it's tell your brain what you want and tell it in a way that's balanced, right? As opposed to, I want to be an NBA All-Star. It's like, okay, well, that could be one.
Yeah.
But what do you want? Your relationships, your work, your money, your physical, emotional, spiritual health. And when you look at it, it's not just about you.
Yeah.
It's about your family. So you want to have a great relationship with your wife. And you met my wife. And I have the same thing. Kind, caring, loving, supportive, passionate. Always have that. It's my goal. Always. Don't always feel it.
Yeah.
Rude thoughts show up.
All right.
And it's like, don't say it. And it's not that I shouldn't say it. It doesn't fit my goals to say it, right? But you first have to define it. And then you go, okay, does my behavior fit? And you're very conscientious when it comes to your family, but also with basketball. And so, why show up consistently, reliably, predictably? And so we talked a lot about being a dad and being firm and kind at the same time.
Yeah.
The rule, if you have a tantrum to get your way, the answer is no. It's always going to be no.
Right.
Go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then be strong enough not to reinforce the negative behavior.
Yeah.
And work, put basketball all together. 2-year plan to dominate, play at the highest level, enjoy it, be present, consistent, lead a team to a championship, stay healthy, get better at all things. I need in 5 years. Well, it's clear. And we also talked about you win or you learn. Win or you learn. And you don't have to be the best. You have to be your best, right? Because when you have to be the best, it separates you from other people. It's like, I have to be better than you.
And that's what I struggled with a lot earlier in my career, just the comparison. Like, you know, you want to be the best, the best, the best. You know, you grow up and like I play with my idol, Kobe, and it's like, all right, I look at him like he's the best, right? And you have that insane competitive drive and you're like always comparing yourself, oh, this guy, or this is where this guy's at. And it's like, you know, that's one of the things we really worked on and I've been able to work on, you know, throughout my career is, all right, this is where I'm at. Be the best version of yourself today. And then tomorrow be the best version of yourself. And continue just to stack those days of just being the best version of myself. And then, you know, I look back, I'm going into year 12 and I'm like, I'm 1,000,000 times better than I was in year 1. And, you know, you can see how just being focused on your own path and your own race, and having those blinders on, not, you know, focusing on things that are out of your control. Because we talk about that too. There's so much out of our control that, you know, we can't control, but focusing on the things you can control.
Yeah. And during the first round of the playoffs, you played against arguably the best player of all time. I mean, you could argue that,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And you did absolutely fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And you did absolutely fine. Money, it's just be responsible, value-driven, goal-oriented, save as much because less is more mindset. You had that. physical health, best brain possible. And now that you've made your brain better with my help, you're going to want to keep it that way.
Absolutely.
Right? It's like, no, I didn't want to lose the progress I've made. Protect your blessing. Diet, supplements, stretching, mobility, emotional health, stable. Kinder to yourself, but still tough. We'll talk about the Mamba Disciple. And spiritual health. Your spiritual life's always been very important to you.
Absolutely.
Your mom was serious.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
She was serious. So you want to be connected to God and purpose, feel chosen, and all things work together for good for those who love the Lord. And the goal is just look at this on a regular basis and go, does my behavior fit what I want? And it's not selfish, because there's not much on here that's selfish. It's about a better marriage, better kids, working hard for yourself, but also for your team, being responsible, being happy. I don't know if we ever talk about happiness as a moral obligation.
I don't know if we got to that one. No.
So I wrote a book on happiness, and I quote Dennis Prager, who said, happiness is a moral obligation. And it's like, so I grew up Roman Catholic. There was not one bit of that in my house growing up, not one. And it's like, why is it a moral obligation? Because of how you impact other people. That if you're unhappy, it's a bit like bad breath. And it just sort of puts people away. So striving to be happy. Now, that's not hedonism. Hedonism is the enemy of happiness. But it's, I do things that make me happy, that fit. So I think this was important for us.
Yeah, it was important, and it was a great, I remember when we first did it, you said, put it in your bathroom, put it on, your wall, put it in your car or whatever. And it was just a great reminder to where it just kind of became routine, where it was like, this is what I want in life. And then everything, it wasn't about a dollar amount or, like you said, being an all-star or, anything that you could say is, physical or whatever it is. It was just about like, these are the values, that I have in life. And this is what I want, out of these different areas in my life. And all of my decisions became based off of that, whether it was a decision with my wife, or kids, like, we talked about the like smoking. And I think one of the things with that, it made me distant and not present. I kind of just like would be in my own world. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. Like, this is like what it is. My wife would be like, no, you're just not present. Like, we're having a conversation. You're not really present. You're not, you're with the kids. You're not really present. And one of the biggest things I saw was a change in my relationship with my now middle child, Jace. Because before, like, he was a mama's boy, but, I didn't feel as bonded with him. And obviously I stopped smoking and stuff like that. And I don't remember when it was, but I remember telling my wife, I'm like, I think Jace likes me more than you now. And it was just that relationship to where like he found emotional stability and comfort in me. And, he, wanted to be around me a lot more and just hang out. And not that he didn't want to be around me before, but it's just like, all right, he wake up and, he's like, all right, Dad, can we do this? Dad, can we like, and I just think it was the being present, with him. So like all the decisions that maybe weren't so healthy in my life or that I was doing or decisions I was making, I was like, all right, well, the one-page miracle made me think about things different. Is this healthy? Is this going to, be beneficial for what I want towards these things? Yeah, maybe this might feel good now, but the long-term effect, it won't be great. So, it was amazing for me to, live by this year.
And it's not selfish. It's just clarity. And I think what does the kids, I mean, what do they want? Your attention, right? It's the most important thing for them.
20 minutes a day.
20 minutes a day. We talked about special time a lot. Another fun thing we did is we had a pregame dopamine routine or ritual. And because when you become famous, fame all by itself wears out the pleasure centers in your brain. Everywhere you go, people recognize you, they love you, they hate you, they have an opinion. And it's just, if you wear out the pleasure centers, then you get depressed because you don't have enough dopamine. And so dopamine is that neurotransmitter in your brain that just helps you focus and helps you feel good and keeps your motivation. And when you have ADD, you have lower levels of dopamine. And so if you put this back up, we actually, and I'd like to do with the athletes I work with, it's like, we have to make sure your neurotransmitters are helping you and not hurting you. And so was going to bed early, focusing on love and gratitude for your sport, watching the highlight reel, right? You used to watch people watch themselves and you thought that was...
I always thought it was the weirdest thing. I'm
narcissistic.
Like, why are you watching yourself? Yeah.
Yeah. But we want to build those tracks, not of you missing the free throws or the three-pointers, but making them over and over and over again. And you are a student. You love thinking about the game and how you can be better and studying Kobe and the other great players. So that's excitement for the sport. Getting a massage helps, listening to the right music. Sunlight in the morning primes dopamine. Cold exposure, which you do.
Yeah.
Holding the caffeine in the morning so it's more effective in the evening. Bright light therapy, our supplements, pumpkin seeds, and then this attitude again. Win or learn. And then I had you try our peak energy.
Well,
which
I loved it.
Yeah. Peak energy is just
that was great.
And so it's just sort of managing your energy, managing your brain. And then we did something called the gap in the game. You know, are you in the gap with what you don't have? Or are you in the game looking at how far you've come? And the question is not, I'll be successful when, because that's gap thinking. It's, I know I'm being successful when I do these things. And when we look at, when I'm connected to my wife, kids, mother, and family, I'm being successful. When I'm spending time with God, meditating, when I show up at practice or a game as my best confident self, which is a leader. When your diet's right, when your sleep's right, when you're taking care of your gift. I always love when you say that. Personable, smiling, engaging, because you have the best smile. Responsible, giving, and selfless. And make time for yourself. It's like, this is when I'm successful. It's not the contract. It's not you got an award. It's every day you're successful when you do the things that you want, right?
Yeah.
And then we worked on little habits, so many habits. I think, I'm not sure I put all of them, but like, well, does it fit? Does my behavior fit the one-page miracle? Is this good for my brain or bad for it? Now you'll ask that even more. I want a better brain. Today is going to be a great day. Start every day with that. What went well today? Love food that loves you back. When you get anxious, breathe. 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out. Is it true? Looking for happiness throughout the day. The butterfly hug is havening. I know I'm successful when, and notice what you like about other people more than what you don't. So sort of a crash course. And then we did a fun thing where we create an affirmation for you. Put up And it's like, so what's the goal? I'm an NBA All-Star player who will compete for a championship, which you absolutely did. Why? That's pay value. You enjoy the recognition of being one of the best in the world. Plan. And this is very purposeful. I am a flexible problem solver who treats myself and others with kindness and grace. I don't get upset until the 12th thing has gone wrong. You remember the rule of 12?
Yes.
I can't be upset until the 12th thing goes wrong. So, and you were counting, right? With some of the referees. It's like, dude, that's one.
Yes.
That's two.
I think that's why it took the game 73 to get to the 12th thing. And then I finally got the tech.
And then you repeat the goal. And that's who you are. And now we'll switch it to 25-26, right?
Yeah.
And there's high expectations for the Timberwolves because of how close you got last year.
Absolutely.
We also talked about negativity and how negativity drops function in your cerebellum. And so anytime you just see the word no, for less than a second, it disrupts brain function. And that's why athletic slumps happen, because your brain starts telling you can't do it. And so you can't do it. We did EMDR for just about 50 sessions.
Yeah.
And initially, it's to help with the trauma and the triggers from the past. And when you got upset at a player or a coach, or it's like, oh, well, let's go into it and see where it came from. And a lot of it was from some of the childhood trauma. Right? Mm-hmm. But once we worked through that, we mostly used it for peak performance, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Let's work on your 3-point shot.
Yeah. We use it for what I, almost like visualization of what I wanted to do that night or, that week or whatever. But I mean, originally it was, working through those traumas or working through those triggers, something would happen. And I didn't realize I was doing it, but I was associating it with something that may have happened 5 years ago or 20 years ago. And, it's bringing up those feelings of emotions. Like I used to remember one of the big things we talked about in the beginning was I had a hard time trusting. And, I was like, I don't trust this person. I don't trust this person. Like, I didn't trust anybody pretty much, And it was just like, I always would see, like, I would think somebody would have an angle, or I'm looking at it as like, just not a very trusting person. And then even I didn't even trust myself a lot of times. It got into that overthinking, over not trusting myself. And the EMDR was great. It helped me obviously work through those traumas. And then, it allowed me for, first to be able to like really trust myself again and trust in what I'm doing and, believe in what I'm doing. And then allow me to trust others, which allowed me to be who I actually am, a happy, engaging person, a smiling person, making everybody feel included and not letting, things get me down for too long, stuff like that. And I even remember it came to a point in the season where, we had a session and I'm like, Doc, this is cool, but like, I was an all-star at least when I was smoking, like, and, I'm giving guys 40 when I was smoking. Like, I don't know if I can like see this through. And, but I think just with the EMDR, it just allowed me to continue to trust myself and just see everything through. I wasn't like, I knew I was doing this for a bigger purpose. I was doing this for, the long run. I wanted to get to the playoffs. I wanted to dominate the playoffs. Like we had talked about that all year. And for me, it allowed me to be like, oh, okay, it's fine. Like, you're winning or learning. And we're learning today. It might not be a win, but we're learning today. And, I just saw everything through and I trusted myself and trusted the plan and, slowly started to become the best version of myself. So, it was great. It was great. EMDR, I just left like my chiropractor, and we were talking. I was telling him I was going to see you, and he was asking me what helps him. He was telling me what helps him. He was like, I do EMDR, and I'm like, oh, well, me too. Like I do it too. So it's been extremely helpful. And then by the time we were able to work through those traumas, like you said, it was like, all right, what am I struggling with? Well, I'm hesitant on my catch and shoot 3-point shots, or I'm turning the ball over too much right now, or whatever. And it's like, all right, I'm able to, work on those things, visualize, see it. And, I would go in the game and just do it. It was like magic almost.
Well, and the magic happened when we created your alter ego.
Yes. Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's in the middle of the season, and I watch a documentary on CNN about Kobe Bryant. And it's like a 3-part documentary. And in the middle of it, he talks about the Black Mamba and how the Black Mamba is created. And he mentioned the book, The Alter Ego Effect. And I'm like, I'm going to get that book. And I read it. I loved it. And actually had the author on our podcast. But mostly I read it for you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think that will help you level up. And I think it was incredibly effective for you. In fact, I want to show, we developed the Mamba Disciple.
Yes.
And so the idea behind the alter ego is if you just show up as Julius, well, you can be temperamental and you can miss the shot. You can get down on yourself. But if you show up like Kobe Bryant would show up, well, you trained with him. He's a badass.
Yeah.
And he's got a mind that doesn't really care what anybody thinks.
Yeah.
But he doesn't show up as Kobe Bryant. He shows up as the Black Mamba.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so as we talked about all the different ideas for your alter ego, that one sort of fit.
Yeah. It fit really well. It fit really well. And it was great. I mean, to be honest, because it was one of those things where it allowed me to almost like play a character in a way and kind of disassociate myself from who Julius actually is, because, me off the court, a kind, caring, loving person, very aware person. So like very aware of people's feelings and emotions around me. And I just care so much that, I give a lot of love and I pay attention to everything. I try to be like perfect in a way, even though I know I can't be, but I just, try to overcompensate in that way a little bit. And that would carry with me on the court. So like, it would be, if I miss 5 shots in a row, like, I'm like, man, I'm missing a day. Like I need to pass, or, if I miss these shots, I need to make my next one. Like I didn't have that short-term memory. I would remember everything. Like I have a great memory. So I would just remember everything. And I'd just be like, almost kind of being like a shell of myself because I'm trying to be so perfect out there. And, we came up with the Mamba Disciple. And I mean, for lack of a better term, I just stopped giving a fuck, to be honest. Like, I'm like, I can miss 30 shots in a row and I do not care. Like, I'm shooting the shit again. And like, credit to my teammate, Ant, like he was like that. Like Ant was like, bro, like I work, like he'd always say like, I work too hard on my game. It's like, man, if I miss this, I know I gotta make the next one. And I remember telling you that and I'm like, shit, I work hard too. I was like, I gotta make this next shot. There's like no way I'm gonna miss this next shot. Like, and that became my mindset. It was like, I just like stopped caring, like in a way, and so much of like trying to be perfect out there and just be me and know that like that was good enough. And I think I started to play like the best basketball of my career at that point because, I just, like you said, I just stopped caring. And it was like, for me now, it was like, rather than worrying about this, that, and the next, I worry about the things I control. And I just kind of felt like I was always hunting out there. Like I wasn't worried about, oh, this person's coming. Like It was like, no, I'm trying to kill you. And it was like the rest was history, like that killer instinct, that drive and all that stuff of just trying to dominate out there. It was big for me.
So while we were doing this, I actually created images using ChatGPT of the Mamba Disciple. Maybe we can put it up. And I knew it stuck with you when you had the dream.
Yeah.
Could you talk about the dream?
Yeah, I remember. I don't remember what point it was in the playoffs, but I remember telling you, I was like, Doc, like when we get on the call, I was like, I got to tell you, I had the craziest dream last night. And I was like, the shit felt so real. And I can't remember exactly what was happening, but all I know is I was somewhere and like I had like a little like hole in my leg or whatever or something, like a little mini hole. And next thing you know, I just start pulling snakes out of my leg, like purple. And the snakes were like purple and gold and all this stuff. And I'm like looking at the snakes. I'm like, man, what is going on? I'm like, in the dream, I'm freaked out. Cause I'm like, why are snakes coming out of my leg right now? It was the weirdest thing ever. And I remember waking up and I was like, Doc, I text you. I'm like, I got to tell you about this dream. It was fucking crazy. And, but that's just how much I was like dived into like that character of, like you said, being a Mamba Disciple. And it just very spiritual person. So it's always for me, I'm like, Kobe was such an idol for me growing up, and then to play with him, like for him to be a mentor of mine. And, it just always made me think about him. And, I'm like, all right, man, like, your big brother's around, like, he's watching, or like, you kind of like feel like his spirit there in a way. And like, all right, God is giving me these signs to let you know, like, he's proud of you or whatever it is. So like, it just, it allowed me to like tap into his mentality. And I'm like, all right, I would go out there. I'm like, I'm really the Mamba Disciple, and it reminded me too of, thinking about it, like Kobe, when he played, like he was so dialed into the Black Mamba. Like I remember even like his last game, like he's doing the teeth and he's hissing. Like he always had this like sound where he would hiss, where he would want the ball. And it was like, that's really who he was. Like on the court, he was unforgiving, Black Mamba strike, like no friends. Like that's just like how he was. So he was so locked into that character. And I think it was really cool because it just allows you to disassociate from everything else that's going on. And it was fun. And I'll tell you, it was like playing a video game. It's like, I get to be this for the next 3 hours.
Well, and when you're dreaming it, it's actually becoming part of who you are. Mm-hmm. And it's not something you want to be at home.
No. Yeah, I don't think me being a Mamba Disciple at home will work well.
Right.
My wife might.
We developed rituals to put it on for the game when you needed it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was just so much fun to watch you the last half of the season. So some of the lore around was that you didn't play well in the playoffs. Right. So could you put this up, please? Because I had so much fun when this popped up on my phone during the playoffs. Top headlines. The number one headline is "Do It All Randle's triple-double fuels Wolves win." And I think you just need to put it up somewhere because this is where I want your mind focusing. Yeah. The Mamba Disciple, the good habits. And marijuana may have gotten you there, but not for a long time. No. Right?
Not at all. Yeah.
And likely it would have cost you $100 million with the divorce.
Yeah, for sure.
That disappointed look that your mother and your wife give you. Absolutely. That just rips your heart out. It makes you want to smoke more so you don't feel anything.
Exactly.
Right. This is ultimately the goal to be, this is who you are.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about the gift, God gave you the gift to be one of the best in the world.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. This was big for me just because I'm so competitive, and but I think I was only able to play well during this time because it wasn't about proving anybody wrong. And I think like I didn't allow like the noise and all that stuff to like be like, oh, I got to prove this person. Oh, they said I don't play well in the playoffs. Okay, I got to prove this person wrong. I got to do this, this, and that. And it's like the people always talk about it, like you want something so bad that you can't relax and you overcompensate and this, that, and next. And during this whole time, I was just like such in flow state where it was like the Mamba Disciple is like, I don't fucking care. Like, I'm just going to go out and kill you. Like, I don't give a shit what you have to say about me, and it also allowed me to like kind of evaluate it too. So like we had talked about like the first time, like, I had my first playoff action, like I can own it. I didn't play well, but it was also, my first time being in the playoffs after 7 years or 8 years, and being the guy. And I'm like, okay, well, during that time, I wasn't thinking clearly, but I'm like, all right, I got to just get better. I can't really, focus on what went wrong or this, that, the next. It's like, all right, I just got to be better. I failed or not failed, but I've learned and, now it's time to move on. And then, the next time I'm like, oh, I got to prove everybody wrong because I didn't play well or whatever. And, I'm playing on an injured ankle and, I'm playing on one ankle and I'm like, all right, I'm not using that as an excuse, but, I wasn't healthy. I had surgery right after it happened. And it was like, I just wasn't the best version of myself. But I was also able to take moments during that time and be like, okay, this went well, this went well, this went well. And then, the next year happens and I hurt my shoulder and I'm doing everything I can to come back. And I'm like, because I want to prove people wrong or this, that, and the next. And it was just like, no, you actually just cannot play. Like, I'm having points where I'm trying to come back and I'm re-hurting my shoulder and I can't feel my arm for 30 minutes. And I'm like, all right, bro, like you think that you're going to win a championship with an arm you can't feel for 30 minutes in a game? Like if it happens, I'm like, all right, I'm just hurting my team, more than anything. But, this time when we had talked about it all year, it was like, all right, I would just want to be the best version of myself and playing the best basketball when April comes. And that was always the goal. It wasn't about being an all-star or, all NBA. I would love to be those things. Obviously, you have those goals, but it's like, all right, I want to be the best version of myself. And I felt not just physically healthy and my game didn't feel, as the best as it has ever felt. Like all that was great, but I had the most clear mind possible, going into those things. And I think the things that I held value in from a basketball standpoint, it wasn't just about scoring 30 every single game. It was about how can I be the best version to help my team win games. And, it could be scoring 30. It can be having a triple-double and, having 11, 12 assists. It can have 20 rebounds. It can get the game-winning block. But it was like, I don't need to score 30 to prove to you that I'm worthy or that I'm, a playoff riser or a performer or whatever. It was like, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to be the Mamba Disciple when I go out here and, try to take your heart out and help my team win games. And I think like anything in life, it clicks and you start to feel that success and you're like, all right, I want to feel it again. And you continue to work and continue to do the right things. And that's just really all it was for me. And, ultimately we didn't end the season where we wanted to, but like I text you at the end of the season, I'm like, Doc, thank you. Like you saved my life. Like where I was headed wasn't great, from a mental standpoint, from personal and everything. And I was able to take everything that happened at the end of the season and be like, all right, I learned. This is where I have to be better. This is where, the challenges were. So next time I get in that position, I'm like, all right, I know what works and what doesn't work. I don't look at this as a failure. I learned something about myself in these moments. And, I'm excited for the next step now.
I'm so excited for you. And this is your first year with the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Right? And you didn't get traded at the beginning of the summer.
Nah.
You got traded a week before or a couple of days
Before training camp. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And your shoulder still wasn't 100%.
Yeah, I had no clue. I was just going to go play. And I was just like, they got there, were like, no, we need to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay. And I think from that moment on, I was like, all right, these guys want, the best for me, obviously. And they want me to be the best version of myself. I remember talking to our president, Tim, and he was like, because they wanted me to wear the shoulder brace. And I'm like, I'm not fucking wearing a shoulder brace out there. I was like, if I got to wear a shoulder brace, I'm not playing. And they were like, listen, man, like Tim was like, we don't care about October or November. Like we care about April. And we want you to be 100% healthy in April. So if you got to wear the shoulder brace for 3 weeks, just do it. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And, I ended up wearing the shoulder brace and I finished, thankful for them, thankful to them. I finished the season as healthy as I felt in 6 or 7 years. So it was incredible.
Yeah. Did they have a really good medical staff?
Yeah, the medical staff was incredible. They really took care of me. Yeah.
And so it's going to be, you have experience with most of the team, although you have an exciting new kid on the team.
Yeah. He seems like he's going to be pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you have a sense of where people, like the first half of the year, you were just getting used to it. When you were in New York, how long did it take you to build that team that went to the playoffs?
Well, the first year was hard. The first year was tough. It was a lot of new players, probably like 6 or 7 new players on the team. And our coach had got fired 20 or 30 so games in. And then I believe the president stepped down. So it was a lot of chaos. It was New York, so it was a lot of chaos. And then the next year, we had a lot more stability and, we had Tibbs come in and he was great for us. And, up until that point, I had the best year of my career. And, we got to the playoffs that year. So it took a year and a half, 2 years to have that stability. But then even then, things changed and it wasn't really, stable again until my 4th year, 5th year, so it was a lot of ups and downs.
So it takes time.
It takes a lot of time.
Being patient, and you guys clearly gelled.
Yeah.
After you came back at the end of February. Yeah. Well, it's truly been one of the honors of my life to work there. It's been so much fun, even though I was screaming at the TV.
I know. Thank you, Doc. Thank you so much.
I wish you all the best. And I'm excited to see what happens this year and how I can be helpful to you.
I'm excited too. I can't wait to see what it looks like a year from now. We see what happened in a year. I can't wait to see what it looks like a year from now. So
it's so exciting, right? That you're not, and it's one of the big loves of my life. Most people don't know. You're not stuck with the brain you have. You can make it better. Yeah. I can prove it. I've done this over and over and over the last 35 years. And with a better brain comes a better life. With a better brain comes better basketball, comes better marriage, comes a better dad, comes a better son, comes better money. And you're just more likely to go to heaven. Yeah. So if you think of it from a spiritual standpoint, it could have eternal value.
Yeah, for sure.
For you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, thank you, Doc. Appreciate you.
You're in a war for the health of your brain. Everywhere you go, someone's trying to shove bad food down your throat that will kill you early or give you an addictive gadget, put terrible news in your head, making you anxious. Hi, I'm Dr. Daniel Amen, founder of Amen Clinics and Amen University. My wife, Tana, and I created the Brain Warriors Way course. It's 26 hours of content where we walk you through specifically in detail how to have a better brain and a better life. For from the food you eat to the thoughts you think to the strategies that you can engage in every day. If you want to survive and thrive, you have to become a brain warrior. I'm so grateful to Julius Randle, and it's one of my favorite episodes ever. You're listening to the Change Your Brain Everyday podcast. If you like us, leave us a comment, question, or review. Subscribe. We're grateful to have you part of our community.